It is now 7 o'clock, and with that, we will start with the roll call.
Amanda Harness, DeKalb.
Here.
Steve Byers.
Here.
Ariel Owens.
Present.
Christopher Boyce.
Here.
Ace Ramirez.
Present.
Vante Bynum.
Here.
Jenna Zimmerman.
Here.
All right, the next item on the agenda, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next thing is public participation, recognition, public comments. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board shall complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. Jackie, do we have any comments?
No.
Awesome. All right, next item is board correspondence. Do we have any board correspondence?
I've got a couple things. Last week on Thursday, I was able to stop into Huntley with Steve and had a good visit there. From there, I went over to the high school and did a visit with Dr. Larson and Andre, which was very informative as well. And then later that afternoon, I got to stop in during their half day where they were doing some of their extra stuff, and I sat in on the ELO meeting, and I got to kind of learn more about how the freshman on track stuff works. So that was very informative and exciting to see the direction that, you know, the high school is going in with making sure our students are on track to graduate. As just kind of a final thing, we're definitely many moons past it at this point, but back when we were doing our tax levies, there was, you know, a point where, you know, my emotions did get the best of me, and I did kind of lash out at another individual during that meeting. So even though she's not here this evening, I wanted to take a moment to just publicly apologize to Director Parker for any offense that I may have caused her in that time and any disrespect that had been given at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, I got to go to Clinton Rosette with Mr. Boyce, board member Boyce, and it was great to, have a different perspective on everything that we were looking at, because me being a former teacher and him in finance, banking stuff, we see things differently, so good to get that perspective.
Awesome. Thank you. Ms. Benta, would you like to share anything?
And I went to the high school with Dr. Lawson, and I appreciate the things that she's doing and showing the improvement for the freshmen. And I would like to thank Ms. Parker for also the parent committee that she did, and I received your phone call. And thank you, Chris, for your cover apology.
Any other board correspondence from any other board member? Jenna? No? No? All right. Oh, next board correspondence from the student board member. Jenna.
Okay. So I reached out to the middle school about getting feedback from the middle schoolers, and I have yet to get a response, but looking forward to working with them. And then I think with the mini board, we're gonna start looking at the grade scale and see our opinions on that and reach out to the students about that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, any other comments? No? Awesome. Okay, with that, we will move to consent agenda. Let me see, I apologize, let me read the statement. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items 5B through 5H as attached. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
DeKalb.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Ace Ramirez.
Yes.
Vante Bynum.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, next item is presentations, MOI Strategic Plan Update. This is an information presentation presented and submitted by a lot of people.
Hi, happy middle of the year.
Hello.
I'm
So,
excited
awesome.
to
Go
be here with you again to talk about our middle of the year data. We've had this compiled for you for a little while, but our board agendas have been very packed. And in the interest of time, we thought this could maybe wait until February. So to add a little texture this time around, because some of the numbers will look similar, we've invited some of our curriculum managers to provide some context. So I'll go through the MOI data first and then call them up individually to give you some additional information as we get to the slides that are most relevant to their work, if that's cool with you guys. And as always, please feel free to stop us in the middle of any slide if you have questions. I think that Ms. Parker and I both prefer a more conversational presentation style, so we're happy to discuss at any point. Thank you. So we're going to look at our suspension data first. And we have here the suspension data through December 21st of this school year, and then relatively the same time period last school year. So last year we cut it off January 11th, which was right about when we came back from break. And you will see that we've got roughly the same numbers and percentages across the board. We do have 1,425 suspensions instead of 840. And I think if you look at the middle school, you'll see that perhaps that's where the majority of them are coming from. The type of suspension slide is where I think we see the majority of our difference. So elementary and high school look similar, and at the middle school level, we've shifted toward out-of-school suspensions, taking up a greater percentage of the overall suspensions instead of in-school suspensions. This is the slide that I think keeps me up at night the most. This is our student suspension data and our district demographics. So the blue bars represent the percent of students overall that have been suspended and their racial and ethnic makeup. And the red bars represent that student's proportion in our student population. So obviously we still have some work to do. We've gotten our numbers a little bit closer together with regard to our Black or African American students and our Hispanic and Latino students, but certainly a ways to go on that. This is our attendance data. Our district average is represented by the orange line. Each school's attendance rate is in blue. I think these numbers look pretty good myself. And our grade level attendance rates as well, which you'll see follow with the building. This is our assessment data from the middle of the year. So first looking at MAP growth, this is our MAP growth for the winter. So Sarah Schaefer is going to come up and tell us a little bit more about this slide. Just as a quick reminder, God bless you. With our orange and black slides that look like this, the orange bars are the number of students who met their growth goal. So we liken that to turning a light switch on or off. Students either met their growth goal or they didn't. I like the black bars because they tell you what percentage of the growth that was expected for students did our students achieve. So if a student came very close, if they're expected to grow 4 points and they grew 3, that orange bar does not capture that growth at all, despite the effort that was put in by our students and teachers to achieve that growth. The black bar captures those 3 points, as well as all of the students who were expected to grow 5 points and grew 10. So I like to look at those, and here's Sarah Schaefer to tell us a little bit more about our math. Sarah is our math manager for elementary math manager. Is that better?
Yep.
Yep.
Science
And
all the
STEM.
STEAM.
I'm gonna let Sarah introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. So when I am looking at this, especially at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, what it's telling me is that there's a downward trend in our growth. What that then tells me is that the work that we need to do is not only at those intermediate levels, but especially at kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade, when it comes to making sure that the foundational skills get mastered before they start to proceed, because then you can see as they go, those gaps just keep growing as we're passing through 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, which for any classroom teacher, once they're hitting those and 5th grade, it's nearly impossible to make up 1 to 2 years of that gap in a single year. So focusing on K1 and 2 is going to be very, very important. Whether we look at math interventionist for this work in combination with creating customization at those grade levels and at all grade levels so that we can target those individual skills that need to be addressed. And then working toward putting into place a lot of work when it comes to workstations, guided math, and things of that nature so that we can really differentiate within the classroom during that 60 minutes of time. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
This slide also looks at MAP growth, but this is our ELA growth for grades 2 through 8. Again, the orange is the percentage of students who met their growth goal, and the black is the percentage of growth that we saw. And I'm sorry, I should have said this previously. We like to look at growth from winter to winter, as that gives us the most accurate view. The best way I can think of to explain maybe why we like to do that is if you've ever had a Fitbit and you've tracked your weight, it's frustrating sometimes to watch it go up and down. But if you zoom back out and look at it over the course of a year, it can be really encouraging. So MAP is designed to be looked at year over year. So we compare winter to winter. In the spring, we'll show you the spring to spring numbers. That's going to differ a little bit. On this slide, our Spanish reading growth is fall to winter, so it is a different time period. And that is because these numbers that we like to look at are not available for MAP Spanish reading. I think they just don't have the data that they would like to have because it's a smaller subset of students. So they do provide the information fall to winter, and I'd like to invite AJ Crook, who is our multilingual coordinator, up to speak a little bit about this data.
Good evening. This is actually exciting data for me to look at because when we're looking at two-way dual language or one-way dual language data, we know that our kids learning in two languages develop a little slower than monolinguals at the beginning. And it's hard to look at achievement scores and go, oh, you're here. This, we can look at the growth and see that they might be here, but within that red achievement band, they're growing significantly. So this is more what we can look at over time to make sure our kids are on the right trajectory. For our one-way dual language in 4th and 5th, they're supposed to close their achievement gap at the end of 8th grade, according to research. And our K3, the ones that will grow up through 5th, are supposed to close it at the end of 5th grade. That's based on pre-pandemic research, though. So we'll see how they do. We are utilizing these scores to have great discussions about Tier 1 instruction, also what was mentioned previously about pushing in and really focusing on K2. So any questions? Thank you.
One more thing to keep in mind as you look, especially for those students, half of them speak English as their dominant language. So seeing them grow as much as they are is encouraging, given that for some of them in kindergarten, it's their first exposure to Spanish. Now we're going to look at our elementary literacy assessments, specifically MAP, reading, and English. These are our percentile groups across the district. These are our percentile groups over time. And the percentile groups by grade, and at this point I'll ask Jill Springer to come up and give us a bit more context. She is our elementary literacy coordinator. Humanities manager.
It's all the same. Good evening. My comments are going to sound a lot like AJ's and Sarah's in that obviously we want to grow the bands at the top, the blue and the green and the yellow. And to do that, we're really focusing on early literacy in K1 and 2. So we have spent the last year and a half researching, planning, and implementing instructional shifts in literacy instruction. You may have heard the term science of reading. That's become a popular phrase lately. It refers to the fact that we want to make sure that our instructional practices really align with the large body of research that is out there for us to take a look at. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been consulting with experts from NIU. We believe that our shifts are sound. We've just implemented those shifts K1, 2 this fall. Like I said, we spent last year researching and planning. Our shifts are developmentally appropriate at K1 and 2, and that we're looking to make sure that our students are mastering the foundational skills. And we're really keeping an eye on those foundational skills at every step of the way with common summative assessments and our data collection. And so that's what we're doing right now. Thank you.
These are our reading percentile groups broken down by our race and ethnicity for K-5 students. And our reading percentile groups based on students' free or reduced lunch status. So we have a ways to go before we're comfortable with this slide. These are our elementary literacy assessments for MAP reading in Spanish. Same test, different language. These are our reading percentile groups district-wide. We saw the growth numbers, and so we know that we are moving in the right direction. These are our reading percentile groups over the last 5 testing periods. Keeping in mind that we've got a couple of different things happening here in the data. The first is that we've given the test in this fall and winter to kindergarten for the first time, and last year to first grade for the first time, and that our dual language program is rolling up. So again, we're giving the test to more and more students whose first exposure to Spanish starts at school. These are our reading percentile groups by grade and by free or reduced lunch status. I'm actually a little bit excited about this slide because of the parity. Obviously, the numbers aren't where we want them to be, but they're very similar, regardless of whether students come to us qualifying for a free or reduced lunch or not. We've got our math assessments in the MAP assessments for math. This is grades K-5 district-wide. Over the last 5 testing periods. By grade. By race and ethnicity. By free or reduced lunch status. And now we're moving into our middle school data. So these are our 6-8 literacy assessments, starting with MAP reading in English. These are our percentile groups district-wide. Over the last 5 testing periods. And the percentile groups by grade. And here I'll stop and invite our secondary humanities manager, Betsy Zimmerman, to come provide some context.
Hello. So this slide, I think, paired with the black and orange slide from earlier, is really indicative of where we are as a district. These numbers are actually, if you go back and look at the red groupings over the last year, they're a little bit better than they have been in the past, but they're not where we want them to be. Ideally, we're going to see about 25% in each of the bands, right? So we've got some more work to do. We've decided to make instructional shifts first, and we're working on small group instruction, which means that students are getting individualized instruction in smaller groups, and we know the efficacy of that is higher. We started that in the fall. We have 60% of our ELA teachers and SLA teachers are implementing that with relative fidelity. They're working on it to make it stronger every day because it is something they are learning as they are doing. And then we are also looking at our curriculum renewal cycle. We, as a curriculum group, a group of teachers were invited to work together to determine curricular needs and whether or not we should look at outside curriculum resources. The group has agreed that it would be a good idea to get everybody on the same page as far as having a baseline for the curriculum. So we are going to provide that for teachers and that structure. We know that takes a little bit longer. It's a 2-year renewal cycle. So we're looking forward to making a decision within the next year and then having that on desks in 25, 26. So it's just taking the steps that we need to, bit by bit, to make sure that we are going to bring that bottom line up.
Thank you, Betsy. These are our reading percentile groups by race and ethnicity and by free or reduced lunch status at our middle schools. Our literacy assessments for MAP reading in Spanish, keeping in mind dual language has not yet rolled up to the middle school, so these are all one-way dual language students. These are the percentile groups district-wide over our last 5 testing periods. Grades 6 through 8 by grade. And free or reduced lunch status. Our middle school math assessment is also MAP. This is how we've done district-wide in grades 6 through 8 over the last 5 testing periods and by grade. And I'm going to be joined by our secondary STEAM manager, Amy Broadkorb. Nailed it. Who will talk to us a little bit about this slide and the previous slide.
Back. We can go back a slide. Perfect. Hello. She did. She nailed it. Great job. So what I'm excited about here is that if you look at the green and blue from 6th to 8th grade, I know it's not the same cohort of students. However, we are closing that gap, right? We start with 23% in the green and blue in 6th grade. We get to 34% in 8th grade. And this actually, even though it's not the same cohort, this is kind of the trend that we do see through middle school. And you'll see that if you think back to that earlier slide with the black and orange, our middle school students were in the 95, 97th percentile for growth. So even though we're not in the green and blue like we'd like to be, we are growing a ton. So some of the things that we are doing at the tier 1 level for instruction support is at the middle school, we have the academic win time that all students receive. Also in the math classroom, we have Alex, which is a individualized learning platform that they get to help with their individual gaps that they have in math. So that's great for tier 1. And at tier 2, we do have math interventionists, and we do a push-in and a pull-out model at both. Any questions?
These are our percentile groups by race and ethnicity. Free or reduced lunch status. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions, although I'll tell you that the people who spoke ask these questions of me and each other all of the time. So we're constantly looking at this data and trying to figure out what can we do to bring it more in line with our vision for our district. So I'm really glad to have them here tonight so you can see their faces as well and associate them with the mountain of work that's being done to look at what are our practices that are working for us, what are our practices that we want to look to change, and how can we best go about making that change in the district to serve all of our kids.
Can I add?
Absolutely.
I do want to address an earlier slide, specifically the suspension slide that showed a huge jump. I want to address it for our community members that may be wondering as well. What we do know that recruitment and retention is extremely important. Of course, it's an issue across the field of education in all of the United States of America, at least. But one of our middle schools, our largest middle school, has posted a position and tried repeatedly to get people in the position. It is an instructional assistant position that would be monitoring and supervising in-school suspension. This just really shows us that although we do have the structures in place, we are still having a hard time in the field of education filling what is hard to fill positions. So we do need an in-school suspension monitor at one of our largest middle school, and that is why you're seeing that jump, because there is not an adult to supervise them in that setting. The other thing I want to address is the attendance. What is good, actually, our attendance rates going up. I want to commend our school leaders who are doing a better job of not just sending out form letters, that we have all gotten. My kid broke his leg, and I got a letter as well saying, your kid is going to be truant. But really to take more of a human approach and approach families with finding out the why. So they're doing things like calling, in some cases, themselves or counselors are even visiting or coming up with what can we do, how can we partner with you to ensure that your child can get to school. So I just want to also commend that even our SROs are part of that conversation. Our SROs have reached out to families and have formed connections, and even some cabinet members have met young people at the parks and convinced them to come back to school. So I just want to say those are the efforts that are being made to see those great numbers.
At this time, unless there are questions on the data portion of the presentation, we'll turn it over to the directors for their reports. Just as a reminder, you have the colorful director's report in your board packet, but I believe they will be giving you a bit more of a narrative summary of what their middle of the year has looked like.
Okay. Well, the DEI department is most proud of our opportunities of elevating student voices. I'm not going to list them all because this is already a long presentation. And also that we have initiated College Board's AP African American Studies. We are on track. That each school is providing at least 3 DEI professional learning opportunities, many that I have had the pleasure firsthand to go observe. The topics, focus, and activities of these activities were prompted by survey data, specifically contributed to by the teachers and the parapros in that building. In the past, there were some canned things, not saying that it was wrong, but it was canned and it was district formulated. And as you can imagine, anything that comes from outside of the building and is supposed to be addressing the climate culture of the building may not necessarily be most appropriate. So we're very excited about that. I do want to share Tammy's as well. Okay. So in her absence, regular inspections of the building is continuing to happen. The ROE and fire marshal inspection was completed with limited violations noted. There's also, she would like to acknowledge that the current budget is in line with the original plan. And as you all know, of course, with the opening of the new school, we even had some bids come in under. And then the discussions are continuing for the proposed retention program, specifically for our collective bargaining unit, DFSS.
Good evening. Next, I'll talk about teaching and learning. I won't add too much because I think our team here helping to contribute during the presentation really brought light to a lot of the work that we have been doing. So thank you to our team. Very much appreciate that. We'd also add, in addition to what they had, that we have been really focusing on our two-way dual language roll-up, professional development, and collaboration with key stakeholders to ensure the efficacy of that program for our students. We've also focused on our MTSS work for our academics, taking a good survey of what are our practices that we're currently utilizing, where are the gaps, and then we'll bring in more key stakeholders to examine what systems and structures we need to put into place to make that as robust as it needs to be. Also, data has been heavily used and embedded within our school improvement plan process. So Jessica and Andy Langley, who is not able to come today, but they provide our teams with data regularly. So when our principals go to lead their meetings, they have very succinct information on behavior, academic, and grades to drive the goals that they have and the strategies to evaluate the efficacy of those strategies. And then we also collaborate with HR on recruiting and retainment. We have done quite a bit of work with grants and making sure that our new people have appropriate professional development as they're welcomed into the district.
So I told Sarah, or I let her know because I took over for the LOA for the TOSA that I'd let her speak for this one, so she got the mic then.
How nice of him.
From a technology departmental perspective, we're very proud. We got the AI guidance pass, so thank you guys very much. Today I was at the IDEA conference with IEDL, Illinois Educational Technology Leaders. I got to hear from many districts to the east of us and kind of where they're at comparatively to where we are with AI, and we're in a very good spot. So very proud of how all the various departments worked together to get that AI guidance put together and moved forward, as well as the training that has occurred with the Institute Day. And that we're still on track with our migration with Skyward. It's been 2 decades since Skyward has had a major change or shift. And so this has been a big step for the district and for everyone. So everything's on target and on track, and we're in a good spot. Thanks.
All right, good evening. In the world of student services, we've really made some headway in a few different areas. One would be our multi-tiered system of supports behavior framework. Really happy to say that all 12 of our schools have a framework that is in place, and now the work is on ensuring understanding of that framework, how all the pieces kind of work together, and helping our teams grow within that. goal of ours this year was to really continue to bolster our partnerships with various community agencies to ultimately better our families and students. Family Service Agency has been coming in to do various, we'll call them mental health kind of services, but also some preventative services like bullying prevention lessons. And over 400 of our students have benefited from that already this school year. We've also hosted 2 different family nights back in last semester that were really well attended as well. As the board has approved and is aware of, we are in the midst of a program evaluation to where we're going to take a good look at all of our programs within special education, how effective they're being for student outcomes, identify strengths and gaps that we might have, and then ultimately an action plan moving forward that's going to guide the department's work in strengthening those strengths, but also bolstering the gaps. And last but not least, in partnership with, I think, a few different departments, we've really focused on building those connections with universities or kind of those local partners to help with recruitment and retention. And NIU being one of our great partners, over the last few years, we've really benefited from partnerships with special education, school psychology, and more recently, we're working a lot more closely with their communication disorder department to address some of our needs that come with speech and language. I'm so excited to see those continue to grow. Thanks.
All right, with the business office, it's been a very packed 6 months. We were able to approve the DCTA 4-year contract. We also did secure a $33.6 million new school, secure the funding for transition programs and other items. As part of the students, under students' priority, we talked about increasing staff capacity about student transportation. We were able to promote our transportation liaison to a transportation manager, providing a full capacity to manage our contract and also work in enhancing quality controls and creating some quality control protocols with each building. So we're on track with that. In addition, we created a transportation committee where we'll address student, parent, staff concerns and provide any stakeholder recommendation to enhance our transportation services. So by doing this, we were also able to work on multi-year contracts. So today we'll be looking into a multi-year contract with transportation. We're working on food service. We already passed an energy multi-year contract. So it's been a kind of a packed year for the business office. Regarding community engagement, we've brought forward how funding is secured in forms of information, presentation from financial advisors like Liz Hennessy. We've presented it during FFC meetings, community conversations, and et cetera. So we'll work more to start creating a district dashboard to show taxpayer relief efforts under many areas that we have been working on, such as TIF, E-zone, impact fees, abatement of taxes, grants, tax levies, property tax reliefs, etc. So we will continue to fine-tune this and creating a financial dashboard with the help of our community, our communications manager, but also community committees such as FFC. Okay, under financial stability, we restructured the business office in a way that provides the departmental needs and school building needs. We created a budget manager position where they will coach each building budget stakeholders and also give department heads and principals a more proactive voice to drive their budgets and long-term financial needs of their departments or their school buildings. So we have created this structure. We are fine-tuning it, and will be fine-tuned, and protocols will be created in the next 6 months. And that's it for me. Thank you.
I think closing us out is HR, so I'm really excited about a lot that we have going on. We are on track with all of our goals, but I want to highlight 2. One is the continue to improve our onboarding and customer service process. With the board's grace, we were able to upgrade our frontline technology. Frontline is the system that we use to advertise our positions. It's also software that we use to hire our employees with to move them into Skyward. So it is a very valuable software that helps us streamline the onboarding process. With that, we had 2 vacancies in HR, one due to a retirement, a second due to a resignation, and we were very fortunate to get 2 candidates that came to us from other school districts that have a broad experience, so they're able to jump in and they know Skyward. They're able to jump in and they're really able to help us through that streamlined process. Second to that is you've heard the term teacher vacancy grant. Teacher vacancy grant came at a really good time. This is ISB's opportunity to address the teacher vacancy, the teacher shortage that's happening. Not all districts were awarded this, but those that were are very fortunate to have a substantial amount of money. We were awarded $342,464 each year for 3 years, starting with this year. So we have a list of a variety of opportunities we want to take to support our need for teachers. Some of that includes, well, it's definitely our recruitment and retention strategies. It's also professional development, but one that's most important is our Grow Your Own program. We have met with Aurora University to talk about starting a cohort to take our paraprofessionals or even other staff that have an interest to become a teacher and helping them work through the pipeline and completing coursework to do so. I think the word is out because then we got a call from Grand Canyon University and they want to come on site, talk to our staff. They want to bring some of our staff to Arizona to see their campus and see why they are a good fit for us too. So we're really excited that we will be able to, like last year, with NIU, we had 5 graduates of special education for the LEAP program, but we need to increase those numbers quickly and help people achieve their career goals, whether it's special education, elementary, bilingual, or any other area of education. So we really want to maximize our opportunities with the teacher vacancy grant. It's money that the state is giving to us to help us meet a need. So we definitely want to take advantage of that. That total award over a 3-year period of time is $1,270,393, and we don't want to send any of it back. All right, that's HR.
Well, thank you for all the information that was shared today. I think it is exciting. I know that there's obviously a lot of opportunities for growth that we still have, to work through and sort through, but it is always exciting to be able to hear that a lot of the initiatives that we have been able to approve in the last couple of years, that we're starting to see the actual effects of it, right? So we are grateful for everything that you all are actively doing to make sure that we are meeting student demands and that we are supporting students holistically. Definitely, again, like I said, there's opportunities for us to continue to make efforts and grow and close those gaps, but it's always exciting to see that. So thank you again for everything that you are all doing on all levels, right, to make sure that we are enhancing that support to our students, to the families, to the staff members, to our leaders just across, and that we are seeking to, of course, continue to build our own. So thank you again for that.
What she said. But also I want to thank everybody here who's come out to portray what is happening in the district and has a knowledge base to be able to share information that the rest of us could not share, right? So I really appreciate you guys being here tonight to be able to do that for us. Thank you.
Yes, being able to put a face to a name, and a lot of the times we see the documents come in, is always exciting to see that. So thank you again for all of you that took the time to be here today. And again, we know that a lot of the work that came after, post, even though we're still have COVID is still here, is here to stay. We know that they came with a lot of challenges, and it definitely provided us an opportunity for us to assess, right, what was needed, but it really peaked and showed us that there's definitely areas that we need to continue to expand our support for. So again, it's always exciting to hear that the things that we are actively trying to approve to support the district are actually working, and then initiatives are being assessed so that we can continue to figure out whether or not we need to keep some stuff or if we need to move on to, other things as well. So thank you again. As we are trying to meet the demands and the needs of our students, it's always exciting to hear these things. So thank you. Anything else that any other board members would like to add? No? All right. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to old business. Item A, which is the DHS Regional Robotics Competition overnight trip request. Okay, let me read the summary. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the attendance of the 19 DeKalb High School robotics students to attend a multi-day competition in Peoria, Illinois. Oh, by the way, yes, yes, feel free to leave. I know it is a long meeting. You all have had a long day at work, so please feel free to head out if you need to. Again, I apologize. Based on the summary and the recommendation, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the attendance of the 19 DeKalb High School robotics students to attend a multi-day competition in Peoria, Illinois, March 13th through Saturday, March 16, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens. Yes. Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Thank you. Item B, Diligent Elevate 2024 Conference. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the request for out-of-state travel for the Diligent Elevate 2024 Conference. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item C, DCTA Program Course Approved Salary Schedule Credit PRC Minutes. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the program's course and CWC courses as recommended by the Professional Relations Committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, Staffing Request 1.0 FTE Recruitment and Retention Manager. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the new grant-funded 1.0 FTE for the Recruitment and Retention Manager. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
No.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Item E, Letter of Agreement, TOSA Summer Hours. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Letter of Agreement regarding TOSA Summer 2024 Summer Hours. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes. Item F, Staffing Request, Facility Operations Department Summer Staffing. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was in the right item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve 2 full-time summer staff for the Faculty Operations Department for summer 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Item G, DFSS Letter of Agreement Shift Premium. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve that DFSS Letter of Agreement dated February 20, 2024 relating to the shift premium. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Item H, Resolution Abating Educational Property Taxes levied by the Board of Education of DeKalb Community Unit School District Number 428, DeKalb County, Illinois, for the 2023 levy year for fiscal year 24 property tax levy relief grant. First year of abatement. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution abating educational property tax levied by the Board of Education of DeKalb Community Unit School District Number 428, DeKalb County, Illinois, for the 2023 levy year for fiscal year 24 property tax relief grant, first year of abatement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Andre Powell.
Yes.
Future elementary school business. Item A, future elementary updates. Is Are there any updates? I don't see any listed. Not at this, okay, no updates at this time. B, staffing request, 2024 FTE request for principal of new elementary school. This is an action item based on the information that was provided to us at the last board meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the hiring of the principal for the new elementary building beginning the 2024-2025 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens?
Yes.
Christopher Boys?
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez?
Yes.
Dante Bynum?
Yes.
Andre Cole?
Yes.
Steve Byers?
Yes.
All right. Item C, staffing request 2024-2025 FTE request for assistant principal of new school. It is also an action item based on the information that was presented to us at the last board meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the hiring of the assistant principal for the new elementary building beginning the 2024-2025 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Christopher Boys?
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez?
Yes.
Dante Bynum?
Yes.
Andre Cole?
Yes.
Steve Byers?
Yes.
Ariel Owens?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to new business. The first item, item A, fiscal year 2022-2023 audit for the audit and annual comprehensive financial report. And this is this is an information action presentation presented to us by Mr. Amir Doga.
Yep, thank you. Annually, the district conducts an independent audit of our finances. Our independent auditors are Wipfli, based in Aurora. We have the audit copy presented for each board member in your table, and basically the district has received a certificate of excellence in financial reporting from two different organizations: the Government Finance Officers Association (GFOA) and the Association of School Business Officials Internationals, or ASBO International. We have received this for 13 years, and we will submit it again for this year. I would like to bring our auditors, Chuck Guswin and Matt Dekovich. This is his first board meeting, so if you please welcome him also.
Welcome. Well, welcome.
All right, and this is Chuck.
Thank you, Armir. Good evening.
Good evening.
As Armir said, my name is Chuck Guswin. I'm an audit manager at Wipfli. We are the financial statement auditors for the district, and I promise I am not going through every page. Tonight, I would like to briefly describe our audit process and then walk through the sections of the district's report. Our audit begins in a preliminary and planning phase. Essentially, we're asking the question, what's changed from the previous year? Externally, we look to see if there are any new state board education requirements. We look at new accounting standards. We look at new auditing standards that we must abide by. And then internally, we look at any major changes in the district's business office. We look at any complex or large transactions that the district recorded. And during this period, we get an understanding of the district's internal controls. Internal controls are policies and procedures that prevent or detect and correct any misstatements in the accounting system. From our preliminary, we move into our field work. That's when we spend a little time here at the district. And what we're doing is gathering audit evidence to the information that ties from the district's accounting system, transactions and balances and related information. And we're applying risk-based audit procedures to obtain sufficient audit evidence. Once we've obtained that, we move into our final stage in which all of our audit work is thoroughly reviewed, and then we assemble the district's report. There may be cases where we missed something or had a follow-up, and we would do that in our post-field work stage. The district's report is an annual comprehensive financial report. This is much bigger than a basic set of financial statements, but rather has 3 full sections. The introductory section has a lot of material that's provided to us by the district's business office. There's a transmittal letter which gives an introductory context to the reader of the financial statements. There's an organizational chart, and there's a listing of principal officers. And as Armir had said in his introduction, there are 2 certificates of excellence for financial reporting. And I just wanted to stop to note that Earlier this afternoon, I looked on the website just to see how many school districts in Illinois obtain these certificates. And the Association of School Business Officials International listed that 66 school districts received this certificate for 2022, and the Government Finance Officers Association issued 25 for 2022. That puts the district in very good company. The next section is the heart of the report. This is the financial section, and it leads with the independent auditor's report. This begins with our opinion, and to summarize, our opinion says that the district's financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. In other words, this is a clean opinion on the district's financial statements. There's some other information in the auditor's report about the context of how the opinion applies. There's a small section that follows called Management's Discussion and Analysis that begins on page 4. This section has some summarized information that compares the current audit year with the prior year, and it gives the business office a chance to give commentary and analysis to show what has changed and why from year to year. Following this management's discussion and analysis are the actual financial statements, and those begin on page 15. The first two statements are what we call government-wide financial statements, and this looks at the district and its resources through the full economic sense. What I mean by that is there are long-term assets and long-term liabilities listed. All the district's buildings and equipment are listed, as well as net pension liabilities and net other post-employment benefit liabilities, as well as the bonded debt. And the second statement here shows the activity for the year. Following on page 17, these begin the fund financial statements. And the fund financial statements are important because these connect directly to the accounting information that the district maintains on a daily basis. When there is a budget to actual comparison, it is with these numbers that are presented. The balance sheet is the first of these statements, and it lists the district's assets and liabilities and the current perspective. And on page 20, this schedule lists a summarized version of the district's revenues, expenditures, and other changes in the fund balance for the year. And I did want to point out that the district did end the year with healthy fund balances. That's important because it gives the business office and management and the board flexibility in light of any unexpected circumstances. Following these financial statements are the notes to the financial statements. These notes provide a lot more detailed information and context about the items that appear on the financial statements. And the remainder of the financial section includes schedules, multi-year schedules for the district's pension plans and other post-employment benefit plans, as well as schedules that show in more detail each of the district's funds budget to actual information for the year. The final section of the district's report is called the statistical section. I often think of this as a reference section because many of these are multi-year schedules where trends are apparent. These different schedules in the statistical section cover financial information, revenue information, debt information, demographic information about the district, and operating information. In addition to the report, our auditing standards indicate we also issue the handout which should come with the report. This is called our required communications packet, and within this packet there are 3 items. I see a lot of Did everyone get one of these? I'll tell you what, I'll give you the overview, and then we can always follow up if anyone is missing. There are 3 items in here. The first is our governmental auditing standards opinion. If in the course of our audit we encountered any issues of non-compliance, with the district, we would list them in our opinion, and I'm happy to say we had no items that we listed as findings in our opinion. The second item is the management letter. Typically, if there's a circumstance that's not significant enough to be a finding, we would list it here as basically business advice. The only thing we noted this year was that there was a new accounting standard, and although it had no material impact on our audit, we recommend that the district consider implementing it or putting a process together to implement it. And finally, there is a communication with those charged with governance letter. This is our communication to the board. Our standards require that we address several items relevant to the audit. For example, there are categories like difficulties encountered in performing the audit or disagreements with management. I'm very happy to say we had no such disagreements with management. In fact, I've been on this audit for 5 years, and it's always very professional. The district's business office is very prepared. And I know there was a fairly major transition between our mayor and his predecessor, and I was very satisfied with how the audit went this year. And at this point, can I answer any questions for the board?
Exciting to hear all of, that obviously that everything that you've shared right now. So I'm good with it. I don't have any questions.
Basically, we're all good, right?
We're all good.
That's what you're saying. We're good.
We're good.
Love it. Thank you.
That was all fancy
we have
talk
two
for the
seals.
auditor's thumbs up.
Two? Okay, we're good with that. Thank you very much for the work that was done, and thank you for the finance team for all the work that goes into making sure that we are prepared and that we are actively assessing and making sure that we are also taking into consideration and we're doing our due diligence to doing right by the taxpayers and, doing right by the needs of the kids and everything that we have to meet for the district. So thank you again for that work. And thank you for the work that you all did as well.
Very good.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
I got you. I'm going. Just closing my tabs, I apologize. All right. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the audit and annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved. Oh, second.
Roll call?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. The next item is item B, DHS Acapella overnight trip request. This is an information action item presented to us by Ms. Dr. Donna Larson.
All right, short and sweet celebrations tonight. This is permission requested for 30 DHS acapella students to go to Port Washington, Wisconsin. It will be a 2-day, 1-night overnight trip. Obviously, that is why it's information and action. It's going to run April 5th and the 6th. Students will be able to attend professional concerts and work with clinicians. So good opportunity for our students. All right, any questions?
Questions? Great.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And again, due to time sensitivity, it is, you're requesting for this to be an information action item, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the attendance of DHS acapella students attending the overnight trip to Port Washington, Wisconsin, April 5th through the 6th, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item C, DHS varsity vocals, ICHSA semifinals, out-of-state travel request. This is an information item.
Great, another great celebration for our acapella students. So this is a semifinal competition, and it's March 23rd. It's on a Saturday. We're not staying overnight, but it is out of state. So that is why we are coming before the board to ask for a request for travel. It is all paid for, and we will be attending Milwaukee to compete in the varsity vocals semifinal.
And you are only looking for this to be an information or also information action?
This is only information just because it's the travel request for the 30 students, everything is already covered. The previous one was to cover the
Right.
actual cost and registration.
Right, okay, awesome. Okay, consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Right, item D,
Lot of things
DHS Student Council ISC State Convention Overnight Travel Request for qualifying members. This is also an information item presented to us by Ms. Dr. Larson.
Another short and sweet celebration. We will be attending this year. Sullivan High School is hosting the state convention. It is in Springfield from May 2nd to the 4th, so there will be an overnight piece to this. It is $115 per attendee, but the student council will be covering this fee.
Any questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next item is item E, first student, people transportation contract extension. This is an information item presented to us by Mr. Amir Doka.
Yep, we are bringing a multi-year contract for the board's consideration. This is with first student. We would like to extend this contract for 4 more years. We have negotiated with first students since October 23. We have discussed many pricing options. We've also formed a transportation committee to explore all enhancement services that we would like to see on our next contract. We're looking to do a 4-year contract with an increase of 12.9 on year 1, 12.9 on year 2, 4% on year 3, and 4% on year 4. We have looked at the comps. These are very to the benefit of the district. We are locking in some very favorable numbers. The financial impact on average is about $536,000 a year. We, out of this contract, we will get the ability to renegotiate when the redistricting is established and our transportation needs are realigned. Auditing of transportation services from first student and from the district. A installation of student identification verification system, keeping 10% substitute bus drivers to mitigate delays, and the number one thing was liquidated damages for each occurrence of bus delays, routes cancellations, any other form of mitigation of deficiency of services. We will bring this for approval on the next board meeting. We also have the first student representatives here if you want to field any questions. Tina Schroeder is our location manager. She works every day with our transportation manager on the call all the time. She also works with the dispatch. I think her name is Amber. They're great to work with. And our area manager, Joanne Wieman.
Any questions from board members? Oh. Thank you for all the information that you provided also for the board to breaking down all the differences or the things that have been that you have actively worked on to adding to this particular contract. So thank you for that.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Item F, speech and language pathologist service addition, Northern Illinois Association. This is an information action item presented to us by Mr. Kyle Gertis.
Good evening. So I'm going to cut to the chase. We have the ability to bring in a speech and language pathologist who can work in person 5 days a week for the remainder of the school year.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's really exciting. And as you all are well informed, it's been a struggle to fill our openings. So do want to explain a little bit how we got here, because this is a little different pathway. So we work with NIA, which is Northern Illinois Association, to provide various services to our students, primarily occupational therapy, physical therapy, and different coaching and professional development opportunities for our special education teachers, in addition to a few other things. NIA historically has provided supervision for speech and language pathologists, which we have utilized, but have never really provided the speech and language pathologists to be able to be assigned to schools. After hearing from our district as well as some other districts that the need is out there, they did consider adding that this year. And that was several months ago. Within the last, I think it was the middle of last week, they reached out and said, hey, we may have a candidate. If you're interested, we'll move forward. And I said, yep, we would love to. And they were able to kind of get things put together for us to present tonight. So that's why it's information and action. An individual is ready to start as early as tomorrow. We'll need a few more days to get them onboarded, but all we would need is board approval. This would be for the remainder of this school year, and while we continue to post our open positions and hopefully fill those, which we have had some applicants looking ahead for next school year. So, yeah.
So is this a district employee, or is this like our other things where it's contracted, they work for NIA?
Correct. Yep, it is a contracted service through NIA.
Okay.
There is a cost to it. So the cost would be around $37,560 for the remainder of this year, and this would be covered through our IDEA grant, which is how we cover most of the NIA cost that we incur every year. Any questions?
Any questions? Well, this is exciting. So, yes. All right. So again, this is an information action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the addition of 1.0 speech and language pathologist FTE for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Steve Byers?
Yes.
Ariel Owens?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Lisa Ramirez?
Yes.
Nancy Guymon?
Yes.
Andre Phil?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Item G, letter of agreement, Tulsa summer hours. And this is an information item presented to us by Mr. Kyle Gertis.
So kind of similar to teaching and learning, what they brought forward last school board meeting. And in addition to what we did last year is we've worked with the DCTA to basically come up with a letter of agreement that would provide up to 120 hours for members in the Student Services Department, particularly our special education facilitators, our social emotional learning specialist, and our multi-tiered system support behavior specialist, all of which are DCTA positions. This would allow them to do work over the summer, primarily right at the end of the school year and in preparation for the beginning of next school year. A lot of professional development would be provided to our staff from them, in addition to various meetings, planning with school teams, just to make sure that we wrap up the end of the school year and start next year off the right foot. Any questions?
Questions from the board? No?
Guess I'm just slightly, just so I can wrap my head around it.
Sure.
What are we approving?
So you're approving the ability for members within DCTA, particularly those three titles, to work up to 120 hours in the summer, so beyond their contractual school teacher contract, for duties that would, for a lot of different reasons, but professional development to staff, as well as kind of wrapping up the end of the year and preparing for the start of a new year to support SEL implementation, multi-tiered system supports for behavior, and to prepare for our special education meetings, either wrapping them up from this year or preparing for next year.
For the record, I think those people are going to do that work. This is permission to pay them, because they probably would do that whether we pay them or not. But let's pay them for it.
We're asking, for the ability to pay them, yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? No? Okay. All right, and this is an information item as well, right?
Correct.
Okay. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. I did forget to mention earlier, thank you also for the efforts that are being taken into consideration as we are seeking to implement more Tier 1 initiatives, because I know that that's a big thing, and obviously trying to close the gaps. Often we focus on the other tiers, and so it's always exciting to hear that we are able to implement a lot of that stuff. So thank you. And I just thought about it, Kyle. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
There's a lot of information thrown at us. All right. Next thing, item H, Summer Academy 2024 proposal. This is also an information item brought to us by Ms. Sarah Montgomery, Billy, and Kyle Gertis. a lot of people, yes. So this is also an information item.
All right, I can start us off and we'll kind of take a turn here, but it's kind of crazy, but we're talking about our plans for the summer, which have been, this is kind of our process that actually started back in December to get to this point. So really kind of excited to share what we have in store for elementary, middle, high school, and of course our extended school year programming. I'll start us off by talking about extended school year. Extended school year is something that we are required to provide students that qualify based on their need in their individualized education plan. So kind of the goal of extended school year is the maintenance of skills that a student may have learned throughout the school year. But given that long summer break, we know we've got to maintain certain things so that student can maintain that skill. We historically have run this program for early childhood all the way through our 18 to 22 program, and that is our intent again this year. Some of the changes, based on Kim Lyle, who's been our ESY coordinator last year, some of her feedback is we are looking to change the location. So historically, we've been at Cortland Elementary School as well as the high school for our program. There's pros and cons to that, but one of the cons is that it requires a lot of our staff to move either from early childhood over to Cortland or from their elementary school, all of their kind of stuff, their belongings, their classrooms to a building for about 19 days of student attendance and then move it back. What we would like to do for this coming year is we would like to use the ELDC for our early childhood program. So it's better developmentally appropriate for the students of that age. They're used to the environment, and hopefully it makes things a little bit easier on our teaching staff. We would also like to use Huntley Middle School classrooms for the SOUL program. Again, just kind of housed right next to early childhood, central kind of part of town. We'll continue to use the high school for our high school SOUL and transition programming, but then we'd also like to add in our K through 5 ESY program to be at Lincoln Elementary School. So we're kind of centralizing things in town a little bit, using spaces that we feel are better equipped for students and hopefully a little bit of a less of a transition for our staff. I'll hold for questions until we can wrap it up.
So we're also requesting to have our third year summer academy, K through 5. So that's incoming kindergartners and incoming 4th to 5th graders. So our 5th graders wouldn't be in it anymore. They'd probably be part of the STEAM NIU thing. So that'll run Monday through Friday still at Tyler Elementary from 8 to noon. Same dates that ESY will be. And it'll have a STEAM theme, literacy inquiry-based project learning, just like last year. The big change with it is that now that we have two-way dual language rolling up to 4th grade, we're no longer requesting one-way dual language teachers at the K2 level. We're requesting two-way dual language. So with that, we're going to request 2 bilingual teachers and two-way dual language teachers on the English side as well. So that's the major change with our summer academy K through 5 at Tyler.
Next, in the land of secondary, the high school will continue their credit recovery programs within summer programming and also get ahead credits. If students want to take credits during the summer to maybe free up their schedule during the year to take additional classes, then they can. They will be asking for a slightly increase in staffing because in the past we have not had services or supports for students needing ESL or bilingual. So we are adding that in as a much needed need. Kind of surprised that wasn't in the past. So thank you for the high school for working on that. And then also the middle school, our middle school NIU STEAM partnership. So that will be 4 weeks in the summer, similar to the previous years, with an increased focus on literacy and mathematics embedded within their STEAM themes, where students will sign up for 2 different themes that they can do, 2 out of the 3 for the 4 weeks, and then they rotate.
And those are run by NIU professors, or is it run by our teachers, or how does
Both.
that
They
sound?
hire some of our staff, and then they also have some leads that help, but they hire our staff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions?
For me or my
Well, nobody get too surprised here, but I'm actually going to question why we're not spending more money. Why is it that the
We can do that if you'd like.
Well,
I'd like a mini
why
bus.
is it that the administrator at Tyler Elementary School is paid more for doing the summer school program, but none of the other administrators who are taking on this additional workload are paid more for doing this.
So our administrator at the elementary level is a 10-month administrator. So we're paying that 10-month administrator outside of their contract for planning of summer academy and then for being there, being the principal during summer academy. And I'll let Sarah talk about the 12-month.
The 12-month principals traditionally have always also run the summer because it's within their 12-month contract.
Okay.
You said we can spend more, no, let's not spend
Right.
more.
Not saying if we want to add a stipend.
Let's stay in budget. Whew. All right, well, thank you for all the efforts that are going into it. It's exciting to see that, and as a parent, I've been able to witness some of the things that are going on across the district, so it's always exciting to see that these initiatives are working and that people are happy with them and that they're providing families with opportunities for the children to, in some cases, get ahead, some situations, recover some credits that, due to different situations, maybe they were not able to fulfill. And in some cases, just giving our kids just some opportunities to get involved this summer. So thank you for that.
Thank you
It's
so much.
exciting
I
to see
appreciate
that.
it.
So we did forget to mention that Astor is pays the summer academy, K through 5, and the middle school NIU STEAM program.
Okay, consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is new course proposal, DeKalb High School Dual Credit Statistics. And this is information brought to us by Sarah.
Thank you so much. I left the breadcrumb in one of our earlier meetings when we were talking about the early college program, our partnership with Kishwaukee College, and how that those were living course documents, the overview, the 1-year, the 2-year programs. And I had mentioned that dual credit statistics was on the horizon. So here I am bringing forward with Amy Broadcorb, our secondary STEAM manager, the dual credit statistics. There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I could not read those little tabs. Okay, so you do also have hopefully access to these, but basically we are bringing forth dual credit stats. The rationale behind that is we do have AP stats, but the enrollment's been low. So it's kind of hard because it's a year-long course, and then they have to take the AP exam. And then for stats, it's one of those that you really have to score pretty much a 4 or higher for any college to really accept it. So the dual credit allows for them to take the same course for a semester, and then it only costs them $50 because that's a transcript fee, and then they get college credit for statistics. So that's kind of the rationale behind it. Any questions on that?
So the course is a course that they signed up with, like through Kishwaukee, and is the course taught here
It's
or
under
is it
our
at
roof.
Kish?
It's under
Okay.
the roof of the high school, so it will be one of our teaching staff that are certified.
That is right to our next slide.
Good transition.
Okay.
So yes, it will mirror the Kishwaukee College course, but it will be at the high school. And we already have a high school teacher who is certified to teach this course. So yeah, so there's no additional cost to us. Students earn a college credit.
Awesome.
The students, and it would be our juniors and seniors, they do have to take the math placement test administered by Kishwaukee. Successful completion of Algebra 2 is also required. And then, again, like I said, it's only for the cost for them is the $50 transcript fee.
Which is waived for our free and reduced students.
And then this is actually even better than, I think, it's the best slide because materials and resources is zero cost to us because we already have the codes for the platform, the learning platform that they would be using. Because you could take what we did for AP stats and shift it over to the dual credit stats. So there will be no additional cost for a few years for this course to run.
Awesome.
Did we hear that? No. Cost?
I know, this is, I'm kind of excited about that slide. And then also the calculators, we already have kind of a classroom set that we can loan out to students. So if they cannot access a TI-84 by themselves, we can provide one.
And this is a course that will run throughout the semester, like the school year, or throughout the summer, or just
It'll be during the school year, but it's a one semester.
Semester course, got it, okay. So literally the 16 weeks like at the community college.
Yes.
Awesome. Any other questions? Consent, oh, go ahead.
Oh, of course.
For the, since it's a one semester course, is there any other courses that would go along with this? Because it's pushed to have the full year-long credit.
That's a great question. We've had a lot of
course,
dialogue
she would
about
ask
that.
Um, we actually do have a course, so Kishwaukee has a college algebra course that the students would be allowed to take for that second semester. It would not be taught at the high school, but it is offered through Kish, so you can still take that course and you can still get that extra semester of credit.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
Yeah, very good question.
Awesome. Any other questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you, and thank you for the information and the work that you all are doing. All right, item J, updating course material request, DHS, AP, US Government and Politics. This is an information item.
Thank you. We're back again. And this is, as you read in the description, a need for us to update our DeKalb High School AP US Government and Politics. I'd like to turn it over to Betsy Zimmerman, the Secondary Humanities Manager, to highlight that. Christine Vest was not able to come tonight to help with the presentation.
So I'm going to do my best. But Christine really is the person who knows all the things about this. So AP Government is the politics of how government works in practice. So the way it actually is, instead of being like a civics class, which is in theory. And in 2017, we adopted our textbook, but in 2019, College Board revised the course. And in doing so, the textbook that we currently have only covers 70% of the, or sorry, only covers 30% of the required content. It has 6 of the 9 foundational documents that are required and only 11 of the 14 SCOTUS cases. So it's missing a lot. And Christine has spent the last few years hobbling that together. We need to get on track with what College Board requires in order to continue with the course. She went ahead and she reviewed from 3 texts from the College Board approved textbook list according to the updates in 2019. And it came down to 2 textbook companies, Bedford and Norton, and her final choice was American Government, Stories of a Nation by Bedford. That is the same publishing company that did our geography one that we adopted last year. All the required content is included with all of the court cases and discussion. One of the most important parts that I found about this textbook adoption is that there are supports in place for students as they work their way through this difficult primary source text. And a lot of that is in the discussion on the documents and the cases. She is also requesting the ebook that accompanies it. That is an additional $6.50 per license for over 6 years. And then the instructor resources are included. She's asking for 70 textbooks and 70 ebook licenses for 6 years. And then there are the financials. It would require 10 additional curriculum hours so that she can match the new curriculum to her classroom practice, and for a total of $12,598.60. Any questions?
The professional development hours will come out of, or the curriculum work, out of Title II, and the material resources needed, that will come out of our local budget. We have that within our budget this year.
So is this a budget, what it would cost us to be licensed to have access to the ebooks for 6 years or per year?
For 6 years.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, any questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then item K, differential committee meeting minutes. This is an information action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the recommendations from the differential committee meetings held on February 8th, 2024, totaling $10,880. First of all, is there any questions? I should have said that.
Event coordinators, it looks like.
This is Teacher, do you want to provide a little bit more information? I actually attended this meeting. I'm part of this committee, but I'm sure Teacher can provide a little bit more context to that.
So based upon the number of activities that there are, our athletic director and then the assistant athletic director, who is paid a differential, they can't meet all the needs for student safety reasons. So we're looking to add these positions or these differentials in order to support all of the teams, but specifically for the purpose of safety.
Any questions?
So is this going to be a person who stays housed at the high school, or is this someone that's also going to be traveling to other schools, going, to not conferences, but like
Tournaments and
out-of-state
meets.
competitions and all of those kind of things?
Anything's a possibility. What happens right now, because it's shared between Peter Goff and Mark Sykes, they really split that up. So they do the things in-house, but they also travel away, especially if it's a team that does not have enough coaches to support. There was an incident where an athlete was injured during a game. There was only one coach, but one had to go to the hospital and somebody needed to stay with the rest of the team. So we really need to enhance what we offer as far as supervision and safety for our teams and our students. So I believe the answer is yes, that they will travel for tournaments and conference games and, all the different things that happen between our athletics and our activities.
One of the things that they shared at the committee as well was how a lot of the administrators and our director and assistant director of athletics there, how they have to split and attend all the sporting events after school and any activities amongst that, and they kind of share their schedule, and it was pretty intense amongst two people. If you all, just even keeping up with our social media pages, you can see that our students are excelling in a lot of the activities that they are doing, and they're actively engaged in different things at the high school. I mean, I literally just dropped off my daughter for some soccer activities at 6 o'clock, so I know that it's actively happening. And they talked about how, how much work and goes into that, and some of I think one of them shared their schedule. They had attended 14 events within the last couple of weeks. The other one had attended 17 events, and again, that is also attended by our administrators at the high school. So it is definitely a high need based on, the information that they presented to the committee, so.
And then the number of activities increase as our teams make it to state competitions. Also, DeKalb is hosting the boys' regional basketball competition. So then things just start to compound because our teams are doing well.
On top of that, one of the things that they also mentioned in the committee was the need to do it as soon as possible because of the spring. In the spring, we have a lot more sports, so the need is of high demand, kind of like now.
Yes.
So, any other question? I forgot that I attended the differential committee, so.
You were there.
That's where I was. Ooh, can't keep up. So, any questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, so again, this is an information action item based on a need that they currently have. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the recommendations for the differential committee meeting held on February 8, 2024, totaling $10,880. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens?
Yes.
Christopher Boyce?
Yes.
J.C. Ramirez?
Yes.
Nancy Bynum?
Yes.
Ajay Fall?
Yes.
Steve Byers?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And with that said, our next item is superintendent report, and I know we have some new faces in the room too.
Yeah, we're gonna share that right now.
Okay, thank
So
you.
good evening, everyone. You know what this means? It's me, and that means we're ending our meeting for the evening. I'm gonna ask that our new individuals step up to the podium real quick so we can introduce you. First and foremost, Shauna Krenz is our new paralegal. She joined us last week. Is her first way. I want her to introduce herself and just say something briefly.
Hi, I'm Shauna Krenz. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to all the new opportunities that DeKalb is going to give me. I've been a paralegal for over 13 years, and my experience in that field started actually in high school through some of those AP courses. So, thank you.
Welcome, Shauna. All right, then we have Roy Garcia, our new security manager. Roy?
First of all, I want to thank you for appointing me. And kind of wondering why I'm here. One, because I love what I'm doing. But my goal is to create a safe learning environment as I listen to all these beautiful programs and the amount of money going into our students. My goal is to create, again, a safe learning environment. And how are we going to do it? Help prepare our minds for school safety. That means everybody, all of us, faculty, staff, and students. Because it's not going to just take Roy Garcia, it's going to take the entire district. So on page 2 of the printout I did, we're going to use the mindset of safety preparedness, PARA, preparedness, not just your facilities and classrooms, but the mindset of our teachers, staff, and students. These are 3 steps to have a safe mindset. Use your mind, have a plan, and have a backup plan. Awareness of your surroundings, situational awareness, okay? Because the things that are happening nowadays, let's face it, today's world is different. Gone are the days of students just leaving school with the bullying or violence. Violence is on an increase, and I apologize if I'm stuttering because I started to fall asleep over here, and I'm only joking with you. Okay, responsiveness. The days of boys will be boys, girls will be girls are over. Once we are aware of what's going on, how do we respond? How do we change the way our teachers, staff, and students conduct themselves? What are we going to do? Advocacy, the need to advocate for school safety every day, or as humans, we will get complacent. When it comes to school safety, every little thing makes a difference. If we do nothing to improve the safety of our district and schools, then we have done nothing to help our students safe. Accountability litigation is on the increase. It's good that we have a paralegal. She's going to be busy because the laws are going to change. In light of the recent incidents throughout the United States, you're going to see change. And the days of qualified immunity for all of us are going to disappear because they're going to hold all of us accountable. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put everything that I can from my knowledge and experience in doing this over the years to help make this district one of the best, not only in the county, but in the state of Illinois.
Well,
And I can guarantee you that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Roy. So with that, Roy, you'll be seeing Roy. He'll be visiting schools. He's already started today. Jackie's been taking him around and introducing him to staff and making sure that he gets to see everything. So you'll all get a chance to meet him. And then on top of that, he will be invited back, I hope, by all of the principals during a staff meeting so that he can speak towards the work that he will be doing. So thank you, Roy. And then, of course, Shauna has a lot of work that she'll be working on, so she's got a long list. We won't get into that, but thank you, Shauna. Next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about Teacher Institute Day. Institute Day that occurred on Friday went over phenomenally. It was well organized. People were very receptive. It sounds like the AI and all of the work that was put in by Teaching and Learning and everyone who facilitated did a great job. So I want to say kudos to everyone and thank you for all of those that attended and learned what needed to be learned on that day. So thank you for that. Next up, I don't know if you all know, but on Wednesday, the boys basketball team is playing regionals. We start regionals and we're hosting it 6 p.m. Okay, so we want to make sure that if we can make it out there for all of you at home, 6 p.m. at the high school. Boys basketball, let's root them on through regionals. Then the other thing I just wanted to bring up, as Deetra was talking about in relation to the differentials for athletics, there has been talk from IHSA that they want to bring up girls flag football. So that is something that's being considered, and will be surveyed to see if the young ladies in the district are interested in doing that. And at the same time, in regards to equity, we want to make sure that boys volleyball is given an opportunity as well. So those two will be coming up. We're hoping that those things will be considered. I'm sure the kids will be just as excited about learning about all those things as we are. With that being said, that's it for me. thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you so much, and I'm going to throw it back your way.
All right, any other last comments? No? All right, it is now 8:34, and with that, it is recommended that the Board of Education will adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.